Hey there, it's Miriam Schulman here, and welcome to my studio. Thank you so much for joining me in this three-part video series, Mixed Media Madness. I'm super excited you're here for the free video series. First of all, thank you so much for subscribing, signing up, and showing up here today. I know your time is valuable and you're super duper busy, both online, offline, with children and grandchildren and Weight Watchers meetings and all kinds of busyness. And I promise, first of all, that I will not waste your time. I know your time's valuable, and I want to make sure that every minute counts that you're with me. So I promise you're going to learn something, and hopefully many somethings throughout this video series. So I bet you showed up today for one of a few reasons. First of all, you just like free stuff, right? You want to know how to use the mixed media products you've been hoarding, that you're afraid to open, or you have, and you want to know the difference, or you're just intimidated by those aisles of white bottles in the store. Don't worry, we're going to go over all of that in our video on all the proper tools and supplies that you need.
The supply video is video number 3, and the supply videos are usually my favorite ones to present because I love art supplies.
And another reason I bet you're here is because you just want to learn how to create beautiful layers with lots of artsy goodness without making a big hot mess.
In video number 2, I am definitely going to teach you how to avoid some rookie mistakes that will help you with the techniques if you're ready for that. So stay tuned for video 2 to avoiding rookie mistakes.
And the third reason that you're here, that I hope you're here, is because you've been inspired by my art that you've seen online on my site or on Facebook or Instagram.
Maybe you're here today because you're stuck for an idea, and we're definitely going to get to that in this first video. I'm going to give you an easy way to get started with telling you how to do collage, and then 4 ideas of what you put on top of that collage. So stay tuned for that. And then finally, I'm also going to give you a really quick overview of how I created my sunflower painting. So stay tuned to the very end if you want to see that.
So whatever reason you're here, I'm so excited. And did I use excited before? I need my thesaurus. Enthusiastic that you're here. Well, excited's a good word. I'm so excited you're here. I want to give you just a little bit of context. But in brief, I put together the Inspiration Place a few years ago so I could share my secrets in watercolor and now mixed media. And I've had literally hundreds of students, and I've shared my secrets with them so they can take all of my obsession of finding out the best tricks and all my years of experimenting and learn faster. So I can't wait to share with you also success stories of my students. So I can't wait to hop behind the computer, even though I got my hair and makeup done just for you. I don't always look this way. Usually it's a ponytail and glasses. Anyway, I'm gonna hop behind the computer and we're gonna get started and sharing a little bit about me and how I do mixed media. So let's get started.
Okay, so this is our free mixed media video series, and I wanted to give you a little preview of what you can expect. So this is video 1, why mixed media, and I'm going to take a little bit behind the scenes of how I did that sunflower. Plus, I'm just going to give you a little bit of my story and what brought me to mixed media. And then we're going to move on to video 2, which you won't get until a few days. You'll get a link in your email, and that will be rookie mistakes I've made. And this way you won't have to make the same mistakes as I've made. So that would be video 2. 3 is one I'm sure a lot of people are chomping at the bit to get, and you won't get that one for another week, but that will be all the mixed media supplies. So you know how people offer classes and you can't find out the supply list unless you sign up for the class? Well, I'm not like that, because first of all, when you take the class, I want to make sure you have all the supplies when the class starts. It's no fun to watch a video on how to do something if you don't have the supplies you can get started right away. And then finally, the 4th video is going to be how to take the next steps. So meaning I'm going to tell you all about how you can join one of my programs. So this free series is your free taste. So it's kind of like when you go to the bakery or Whole Foods or wherever, and they put the free taste out to let you know what something's like so you can decide if you want to buy the whole cake. So in video 4, it's all about the whole cake. And the point is not really to give you an infomercial. It's just to help you be confident in making a decision if you want to invest in training with me. And I really hope that you'll join us for that and that we're a good fit for you. In video number 4, what I'll be telling you about is my program, my signature program, Mixed Media Madness, as well as a brand new program, which is coming right hot off the presses called Garden Party, which will be an in-depth flower mixed media course, which a lot of my students are really excited about, and I hope you will be too. So let's get started. I want to take you right behind the scenes on how my sunflower painting came together, because I know a lot of you were really enthusiastic about what you saw progressing on Facebook and on Instagram, and you can't wait to get a little behind the scenes look. But before we get there, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I came to mixed media. So here's my art story. At first, I thought I would be a professional portrait painter, and I did that for many years, painting children and houses and pets. And the truth is, I still do that. And I really enjoy painting in watercolors. But then when I wanted to just paint something not for a client and just express myself, I was looking around and I had really admired the mixed media art I was seeing. And it just seemed so interesting. I loved the way it didn't have to be perfect because that really suited my personality a lot. I loved the colors. I loved the layers. I love how I could be more expressive and the different textures. So I wanted to learn how to do this process. And believe me, just like you, I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and it really was confusing what all those different gessos and mediums and everything else can do. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that in the next 2 videos, like the mistakes I've made so you don't have to make them, and what materials I think are the best so that you can eliminate that art supply overwhelm. But I want to talk to you about mixed media and what makes it so great and so fun. Like as if you didn't know, right? I just am really drawn to the unpredictability of it. And you don't have to be a ridiculous perfectionist for it to come out right. I also, over the years, I did experiment with oil painting, which even though I like the way finished oil paintings look, I couldn't stand cleaning it up. And it's not that mixed media doesn't make a mess. It certainly does. But it's not that, it doesn't have that toxic paint and I just buy cheap brushes. So if I don't clean out a brush, I can throw it out. It doesn't require to have the most expensive brushes, and it's just much more enjoyable to me. It's more fun. It's more relaxing. And it's fun watching it evolve. And I can create in a boundless way that is just exhilarating. And what I really found when I came into my own style is I found I could marry my love of animal portraiture with the mixed media painting. And that's when I really got my mojo, was finding that I could combine the realistic watercolor painting and put that along with the mixed media background. So the mixed media background is in the background. I don't let it take over the entire painting, but it just makes the whole process more interesting and meditative to me. And it just appeals to me more aesthetically. Also, I love adding different meanings to my work. In the mixed media, you can use found objects, interesting papers, old books, piano music. And I just love recycling and upcycling things into my artwork. It just makes it into like a mixy adventure. So I just find it fascinating. I just can't wait to share this process with you because I know you're going to have so much fun. There's just endless possibilities with this type of art. And I trust that when I teach you what my techniques are, everybody is going to come out with a different kind of result. It's not like teaching you how to create something and your project is going to look exactly like my project. It's teaching somebody a process in the same way you might teach somebody creative writing. So I teach you the process of how to write a poem, but your poem isn't going to sound like my poem. So that's more or less it in a nutshell, why I love mixed media. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, because I hear this a lot, that, well, that's good for you, Miriam, but here are my fears. And I know this because I've been talking to you. So here's some fears that people have told me they have, and maybe some of these sound familiar. So first of all, people have said to me that they love all kinds of mediums and they've watched other people on YouTube, but they still don't know how to put them together. In fact, I hear that a lot, that some people are starting to really dislike YouTube. That seems to be a common theme, that you get all these free YouTube videos, but you still don't know how to paint. And I get that. I really do. And what you have to understand is you put stuff on YouTube, it's free. So it's just for entertainment. It's not necessarily meant to be a full course to teach you. So I just wanted to put that in there. So another fear that I hear a lot is that they want to do it, but they're not sure how to loosen up and get free in mixed media. And that's what they want to learn. So how to let go of the perfectionism. And another fear I heard is that they love the idea of combining materials. They love the way mixed media looks, but they get overwhelmed by the variety of the choices, and then they don't even know where to start. And I get that too, because when you have too many choices, not just you, but everyone, you're going to shut down. So that's why I'm going to give you a very concise supply list. And when I teach, I'm going to take you step by step of how to use everything in your toolbox. Here's another concern. And I hear this on Facebook. People write emails to me. They want to learn how to use watercolor in mixed media and learn how to seal it so it doesn't smear or blur or run after the painting is totally finished and it gets ruined. That's one thing I hear a lot. Oh, and here's something else. So this is kind of going back to the supplies, but they have the supplies, but they're afraid of using them because they spend so much money on them. Which I think that kind of goes back to number one. They have all kinds of mediums, but they've bought every gadget embellishment tool for art journaling, but they don't know what to do with all their stuff. And I hear you. I acknowledge your pain, because believe me, when I started out, I really didn't know the difference between Mod Podge, decoupage, matte medium, glazing fluid. All this was like learning a whole new language. And I get that. So I am going to give you a plan on how to break that down so you can know the difference between all these different things. Okay, let's pause for a minute because I want to hear from you. Which one of those fears that I just mentioned sounds just like you? It's like, oh, that sounds just like me. Please share in the comments below, because I really want to hear from you. And I do take the time to read all of the comments, and I try to answer as many as I can. And if you're doubting whether or not you can learn this, I want to show you more art done by students who have gone through my Mixed Media Madness class and my Garden Party classes, because some of them have had absolutely no experience starting with my class or no experience with mixed media, and maybe they came from a watercolor background. So if you're from a watercolor background too, let me tell you that mixed media is much easier than watercolor. And if you have no watercolor background, absolutely no worries, because you don't need to know how to use watercolor in order to use mixed media. But I have to say, my art has changed tremendously as a result of mastering mixed media. And trust me, you can do this too. And I am going to take all the frustration out of the process for you. Your learning curve is going to be so much faster than mine was, because I've got it down to a system, and we all love a system. So I'm going to share all of this with you, because you can do this. You can master mixed media, and you don't have to have gone to art school. And you don't need to have a master's degree in art. You don't have to even have any experience. All you have to bring with you is the desire, and I can show you the way. So I'm going to help you with all those frustrations, the overwhelm, the confusion, the mud, the grayness, the where to start. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. Basically, I'm going to give you a blueprint. Now, that doesn't mean that I am going to give you a project where you copy the steps of my project and you come out with an artwork that looks exactly like my artwork. What I'm going to teach you is the method, so that you can come up with an artwork that is totally your style, your expression. You will just learn the techniques. Okay. Now, one of the biggest fears and problems that I hear from people is they just don't know what to paint, or they just don't know where to start, or they start anyway and then it ends up with a big brown and muddy mess. And then you're sad, and sad is not good. So what if I told you I can eliminate both of those problems today? In other words, I can get rid of that first problem that you don't know what to paint, and I can definitely get rid of the second problem about ending up with a big gray mess, because we don't want sad gray messes. Okay, so first of all, knowing what to paint. And let me tell you a little secret. So here is a big secret. The secret is with mixed media is that you can say, okay, I just feel like doing something, but I don't know what. You don't have to know what you're going to paint before you start. And that, my friends, is my favorite part of mixed media. Because with watercolor, if you've taken my classes or if you haven't taken my classes, everything has to be planned, and a drawing and thumbnail, etc., etc. You have to plan everything out. You really have to know what you're doing before you get started. But with mixed media, you don't. You just have to know you want to do it. And it's so liberating and so freeing. And that's why I love it. And I can't wait to share this with you. Secret number one, you just have to know you want to make a beautiful background to get started. And then secret number two, well, eventually you have to put something on top of that beautiful background. So I'm going to tell you the 4 things to put on your background. In fact, you don't have to wait. I'm going to tell you right now. So the first thing you can put on your background is the mixed media mantra. So in other words, you just have to put a quote or a word or a saying on top of your art. Voila, you're done. Okay. Number 2, and by the way, number 1 doesn't require any art experience. Can teach you how to do lettering. It's so easy. And if you're interested in an in-depth course in learning my lettering techniques as well as art journal prompts, I do have a course called Painting with Words. It's not open right now, and you should keep your eyes out if that's something you're interested in when it opens in the future. All right, number 2. Here's something else that's very easy. You do what I call the mixed media silhouette. And number 3, this is a little more challenging. Number 3 is really more for the folks who do have some of art experience. So 3 isn't for everybody. But the third thing is you can put your art on top. So that could be your watercolor, or if you're an oil painting, your oil painting, or if you are a pastel artist, your pastel, or your drawing, whatever you want. Number 2, the mixed media silhouette. And number 3, collaging your art on top. And also how to create backgrounds. All 3 of those techniques, I do go into depth in the Mixed Media Madness course. And number 4, which may be the most challenging, but again, I can teach you the steps, is you draw on top of the background. And now, even though I told you number 4 is the most challenging, that's actually what I decided to share with you today. What I'm going to do right now is give you a broad strokes overview of what you would need to do if you wanted to create my sunflower painting. So we're going to go in a little quick behind the scenes tour of how I put together the sunflower painting, because I got a lot of great feedback. By the way, I'm so grateful for you guys when I'm painting and sharing away on Instagram and Facebook and everything. It's so awesome to have the conversation about my art in progress. So I'm going to share with you the different steps and what I was thinking and feeling and planning behind each step. Alrighty, so here I am with the canvas. It's 5 feet long. I'm only 5'2", so it's almost as big as I am. And it takes up my entire table. So you see, here I am. I actually, at this point, have no idea of what I'm going to paint. So I'm starting off with just finding neutral papers that kind of go together, sort of, but not really. And I'm going to create a very neutral paint layer on top as well. So what happened is that I just wanted to cover the entire canvas. And like I said in the video, you don't have to know what you're going to paint in order to begin this process. So this process is very freeing, very meditative, because you don't have to make too many decisions and you don't have to worry. So it is like meditation where you're just breathing and relaxing. You can listen to music and just explore different textures and processes. So it was actually a week later when I came back to do my drawing. I had gone to Amsterdam, and so I knew I really wanted to do sunflowers. And you can see I set up the sunflowers all the way across the canvas. So it's so cute because it looks like the flowers are peeking their heads over the canvas to see what I'm doing. Now, I didn't videotape that first canvas, but then I did a second sunflower painting. And so I did videotape drawing in charcoal. It's just a regular charcoal. It may be a black pastel, to be honest, but they're both the same thing. A charcoal freehand right on top of my canvas. You can draw pretty much anything on top of a mixed media canvas. I've had students draw the cats that they've learned in the cat class on top of the canvas. So if you've taken that class, you might want to do that. You can draw a bird, a butterfly, and then all you have to do is paint on top of it. One more ninja trick: if you are going to draw with charcoal on top of your canvas, be sure you spray it with an acrylic spray, and that will keep the charcoal from running and turning into a gray, hot mess. All right, so let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for letting me share and geek out with you about art and mixed media. And by the way, I really do pride myself when I do these free training videos. I love to give away what I know to other people. And I take pride in that what I am giving away, that other people are charging hundreds of dollars for this information. So a lot of people said to me, Miriam, your free stuff is a lot better than other people's paid art classes. And that's okay, because there's a lot more where that came from. I just love having the chance talking with art to you, and I hope you really enjoyed it too. I assume you did. You're still here. So don't forget, this is the first one. There are 3 more videos coming. Now that you've gotten an overview of how I create mixed media art, the big question is, how do you get started? Hands down, this is the biggest stumbling block for most art students. If you can't get started, then you won't progress in your art, and it will just be a dream that you have. That's why I want to inspire and motivate you so that you believe that this is possible for you too, because I want you to start creating art. Now, what beginner mistakes should you avoid? That's exactly what we'll talk about in the next video. If you're afraid of the blank canvas, then video 2 will serve as the foundation so you shut down that inner critic. If you're already selling art, I know you struggle with these issues too, because we all do. Even me. Inner critics and imposter syndrome never really go away. But don't worry, there are ways to compensate so that you don't let fear shut you down. So before we go today, I would love to hear from you. So in the comments below, please tell me, what would life look like for you if you could create mixed media art? And how will life be different when you get started in mixed media? Let me know in the comments below. I am going to read every single one, and I will respond to as many as I can. And if you found this video useful, please share it on Facebook, Twitter, or even by forwarding a friend the URL to this page. What you've learned here today is a simple process for creating mixed media art. It's a game changer in helping you unleash your creativity, and it's a key step along the way in becoming an artist. And that's when you can get started in mixed media. And more importantly, have a hobby that brings you joy and is relaxing. And what you're learning in this workshop puts you on the right path to get there. Next up, we're going to talk about how to avoid rookie mistakes by following a simple process to help you shut down your inner critic. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. And thanks so much for spending your time with me.